I know that this was supposed to happen last week and rain washed it away, but now it's coming back. The second annual NYPD versus FDNY charity baseball game, the Battle of the Badges. And you're going to be the commissioner for the charity event. Seems like a nice honor.
Yes, second annual at Citi Field, but, the series is tied 12-12 right now. So it's a big pivotal matchup this Thursday at Citi Field. Yeah, like you said, rain washed it away. And when the Mets approached me about being the commissioner or the host of this game, I jumped at it with my father being a police officer for over 30 years. I wanted me and my family to be there to shake hands with the first responders, the firefighters, the police officers, the true heroes of New York. I circled it on my calendar and wouldn't miss it for the world.
And obviously 9/11 didn't happen when you were on the Mets on the big league club, but you know how much the Mets love to honor, and deservedly so, the NYPD and the FDNY. And you talked about your family background. Just how much pride did you take in that to always remember the legacies of the people that, unfortunately, that we lost on 9/11 when you were a player?
I think you said it beautifully. I really enjoyed it. It was a somber visit, but each year we tried to go to a different firehouse that lost brothers and sisters during 9/11. And I always look forward to the visit because, I really enjoyed being around the firefighters, the first responders, but also just an incredibly somber, sad moment and looking at the wall of recognition or the wall of remembrance and seeing faces that bravely ran towards the trouble on 9/11. When, the majority of us would be running away. It takes a different, brave, selfless person to run towards the trouble. And that's why I think, all of us should, when we see a police officer out in the street, see a firefighter out in the street, shake their hand, say thank you, because, these are the true heroes of the community and ones that keep us safe on a daily basis and genuinely risk their lives on a daily basis.
Well said. David Wright is here with us. The last time you were in a Mets uniform playing on the big league level was 2018. How much do you still miss the game, David?
I miss it terribly. I had my family up in New York for the game, the charity game that got rained out, the Battle of the Badges game. And when we snuck a Mets game in that Wednesday night against the Cubs, and just, being back at the ballpark and the smells and the sounds, and you're getting old when you walk into the ballpark and you start reminiscing about the good old days. And that's what I caught myself doing. So, it got the juices flowing, talking to some of the guys, seeing the action. I kind of got caught in the game of, when I was playing, trying to, see if the pitchers were falling in any sequences or patterns. And, I missed that competitive part about the game for sure.
How do you think you would have dealt with the pitch clock? Because I always remember David Wright stepping out of the box and fixing the batting gloves, obviously. I think that would have been a tough adjustment for you, David.
So you thought I was like a human rain delay, huh?
Well, I enjoyed watching you play.
So you don't think my game would have translated into playing a little quicker? I get it. No, it would have been. No, it really would have been. It really would have been an adjustment period, because I think from a fan's perspective, the game just flows better. There's a lot more action, but as a player, I'm assuming or betting that it takes a little getting used to, because like you were right. I had a little, in between pitch routine that I did, and I think I would have been, it would have taken some getting used to, and I certainly would have had some strikes called on me in spring training getting used to that.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of it is mental now, because baseball players are so superstitious. A lot of those things that you guys would do are just superstitions. And it's like, how do you avoid that? And then mentally, just how does it play with your mind?
1,000%. You are correct, because it's not necessarily that we need the time in between the pitches, but when you come up with a routine and, you're taught your whole life in baseball that you have to have a routine. To be successful, you have to have a routine. You have to, take so many breaths, and you have to, do something that kind of gets you in the moment. And then all of a sudden, the next year, it's like, okay, you got to get in the box, out of the box, in the box, out of the box. It definitely takes some getting used to it. And us baseball players are creatures of habit. So I'm sure it took a little getting used to in spring training. And I think everybody kind of learned together, both fans and players, when, guys were getting punched out in the bottom of the ninth with the bases loaded, and a pitch hadn't even been thrown. So, certainly an adjustment period, but I think the guys are doing a phenomenal job with it.
David Wright here with us. Since I was talking about the mental side of it, mental health, there's a heightened awareness for it now. You had to go through some serious injuries that you still deal with today. What was the mental side of that like for you, knowing that your career was going to get cut short a little bit?
For me, it took a while for my mind to catch up with my body. My mind always said, you got this, you can do this. It's just, you got to work harder, you got to want it more. And my body was just saying, whoa, this isn't going to happen. Slow down a little bit. You're pushing me too hard. So it took a little while for those things to kind of sync up and finally realize that, hey, I'm getting towards the end. And, I've said it a million times and I'll say it again. I can't thank the Mets organization enough for giving me that farewell game, that send-off in front of my kids and my family and my friends. And to be able to say thank you to the organization, to be able to say thank you to the fan base, the city, for always having my back, it really meant the world to me. And those are the types of memories that hit me when I get back to the ballpark at Citi Field. It's just for me, it's just get flooded with different emotions, all great. When I see that ballpark.
Do your girls start to understand how big of a deal Dad was now?
My oldest one, who's 7, brags all the time that she got to throw the first pitch out when she was 2 years old at the ballpark. So she was telling all of her friends, and I think every once in a while they'll play it when there's a rain delay.
Yeah. Been a lot of those this year, I'll tell you that.
Yes, so she thinks now that she's some big celebrity and, kind of walks around with her chest puffed out because she got a chance to throw the first pitch out at Citi Field. So, pretty cool to kind of see. We walked in and my kids wanted to see the team pictures. We have all the team pictures kind of leading down the hallway to the clubhouse. Wanted to see all the team pictures that I was in, so pointing out Dad and all the team pictures. So it's one of those proud dad moments.
I know that we've talked about this before, and I've always told you I believe that one day you will be a big league manager, David Wright, and you said, nah, you want to be home with the family. Do you start to maybe get that itch at all to manage?
I mean, you always, once you don't wear the uniform anymore, you always have that itch to get back out on the field. For now, and I guess I'll never say never, but I don't have much of a desire to, do it, on that level. My desire right now is to do it on the 5-year-old all-girls pony league team that I'm coaching starting in 2 weeks. So that's kind of, for me, being around my kids, getting a chance to be there to coach their soccer teams, their baseball teams, go take them to school on their first day of school, be a part of that part of life is much more important to me right now than the baseball side or kind of what I did, throughout my career. So I guess never say never, but I would give it a very, very slim chance moving forward just because I am really enjoying this part of life of being around my kids and watching them grow up every day.
Totally respect that answer. David Wright here with us. And we know how great of a leader you were when you were a player. Let me just say, if you were still in that Mets clubhouse, the season not going the way that they expected it to, a lot of people were traded right before the deadline, some tough moments that they're going through now. If you were still in that clubhouse, just what would the message be to the guys for like the final month and a half of the season?
Well, I don't think there's any hiding the disappointment that I'm sure those guys and me as a fan, are feeling. It's when you put that uniform on every day and you have those types of expectations and you have that type of payroll, when you're playing for that city, those expectations are high. And when you don't reach them, I think every guy in that clubhouse would tell you how disappointing of a year it's been. With that being said, it excites me to give these younger guys a chance to see what we have moving forward. It's a thrill for me to hopefully have a core of homegrown guys that either we get through these trades or that we develop within the organization, that when you're looking at next year or the year after that, they all come together and kind of form that core that you can have that winning mentality and sustain, that kind of winning mentality over a number of years. And I will tell you, there's a difference when you're a homegrown guy or they trade a Cy Young Award winner for you or a Hall of Famer for you. When you get to the big leagues with the Mets, you're going to have a terrific sense of pride putting that uniform on a daily basis and want to go out there and win to prove that, hey, I was worth Max Scherzer. I was worth Justin Verlander. So it excites me because it gives these young guys an opportunity to show what they got and almost an extended tryout to, see what areas are question marks going into the offseason and that need to be filled externally and some of these young guys are going to win a job for next year and say, hey, I'm going to be part of the solution moving forward. So, as a guy that was developed and drafted and, played his entire career with the Mets, it excites me to see, hopefully, that we get that sustained success in the future through our minor leagues and through some of these trades we just made.
So then a guy like that's stuck in the middle but is a big part of this team, Pete Alonso, who is now a veteran, isn't a free agent until 2025. A few of my friends down the hall at WFAN are saying maybe since the team is getting a little bit younger, they should trade Pete. What do you say to people that are skeptical about the Mets giving Pete a long-term deal eventually?
Well, I mean, I think that, he's shown that he can be one of the premier power hitters in baseball. With that being said, sometimes these decisions are very difficult. That's why these front office guys get paid, and women get paid a lot of money to make these difficult decisions. I think that a lot of it has to do with, the asks or, what both sides are offering, trying to meet in the middle somewhere. I think, everybody would like to see, one of the best power hitters in the game, remain a Met. But, sometimes difficult decisions have to be made. And that's why these guys get paid the big bucks. And, I'm on the edge of my seat seeing what's going to happen as well. So, I will say this, and I'm speaking, from my experience, is that I didn't want to go anywhere. I told the Mets both times we negotiated the two deals that I signed that, hey, I want to be here. Let's do something that's fair for you guys. Let's do something that's fair for me, and let's move on, because I don't want to be talking about my contract. I don't want to be, going out there and it being a distraction. Just know that I want to be here, and that was my mindset. And hopefully Pete's the same way. But time will tell, and we shall see.
Wrapping up with David Wright, everyone's going to be talking about Shohei Ohtani this offseason. Heck, that's all we do during the regular season with how unbelievable he is, not only on the mound, but then even better at the plate. If, let's say, Ohtani gave David Wright a call or Uncle Stevie said, hey, can you give Ohtani a call and try to convince him to come to the Mets, what would you say to Ohtani about your experience playing in New York and why you should consider it?
That there's nothing else like it. It is the biggest sports stage that I've ever played on. That, if you can do it in New York, you will be celebrated like none other. And I think there's a reason why, whether it's basketball or football or baseball, when these opposing players come to New York, they want to put on a show because the whole world's watching. You got so many eyeballs on you. So if you want to experience what, when we went to the World Series in 2015 and, had a couple late playoff runs, we were like the Beatles walking around New York. So, if you want to experience that and, really do it on the stage, New York is the place for you. So that would be my pitch. And, to be able to come to New York and be successful, no place like it.
Hey, before we let you run, David Wright, and I always enjoy getting an opportunity to catch up with you, how do you want people to remember your career?
You know what? That's a good question. I would say just playing the game the right way, playing the game hard. I tried to have that blue-collar mentality every time I took the field. I knew in my heart that I wasn't the most talented player on the baseball field. I wasn't the biggest. I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the strongest. But I can promise you one thing, that I wanted it the most. And when I took that field, I knew that I was more prepared than anybody else on that field. And that's why I thought on a nightly basis that I could go be the best player that night because I was the most prepared. So not sure if that's how I'll be remembered or not, but that was my mindset when I worked in the off season, throughout the season. I wanted that blue-collar mentality that, hey, I am the most prepared and I am the hardest working guy on this field tonight.
And before we let you run, David Wright, one more time, just tell me about the big charity baseball game that you have coming up between the NYPD and the FDNY, the Battle of the Badges. Yeah,
I appreciate that plug a lot because obviously it's something that's near and dear to me. But Thursday, this coming up Thursday, 7 p.m., a big part of the proceeds are going to a number of different tremendous charities, throughout New York. So, come wear your NYPD hat, come wear your FDNY hat, root on the police officers, root on the firefighters, the real heroes, not only in New York, but every community keeps us safe on a daily basis. Come support the brave men and women that put the uniform on. Should be a good time. The series is tied 12-12, big pivotal game. And from what I understand, it's some really good baseball. It's a lot of college players, some guys that play minor leagues. So this isn't, some beer league slow pitch softball game. This is going to be pretty intense. So I'm excited to see it myself.
Oh, if it's anything like the hockey game that they put on each and every year, man.
I hope that doesn't happen. I hope, because I'm the commissioner of the thing, so I don't need any of that. Let's keep it PG.
No Jose Ramirez, Tim Anderson incidents is what you're saying.
No, let's not do that. Because these guys would be able to kick my butt too. I don't want to have to break up any fights.